Happy Wednesday, everybody. This is your favorite crypto trading show. I'm Clutch Crypto, your host, and my co-host, Pete Wellington, who's always on the charts. I think he lives on the charts, actually. He's here on the charts as always. And we got CPI data coming out tomorrow. We got some news that wasn't very positive that came out this morning. So we're going to check out the charts, get into that, and look at the order book to get an idea if we're just going to, do a little bit of fucking around till tomorrow, or if we're gonna have some moves getting set up for potential big move towards today, tomorrow, or maybe even Friday. So, B Wellington, good morning. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well, sir. How are you doing?
Oh man, I couldn't be better. It's gonna be a great day today.
It will be a great day. We'll see what the price action's looking like. But here we are in the daily. As far as direction is concerned, I mean, we've had, as you can see, a few days, right, of down days. As far as the daily is concerned, down candles. We had one, two, three, four, five. In this six, that we're working on right now, but this daily is very early, so that could change if we get some volume that comes in. But just to let everybody see, we normally retrace and reclaim these vector candles here. And so we've got these vector candles that are below, and obviously we've got this uh, this resistance that's kind of turned into to support in this area. So we really got to be careful. So this is kind of the macro trend, I would say as far as the daily is concerned. I mean, macro could be weekly, monthly, but just on the daily
So,
from our perspective. Go ahead.
so right here, so you got the 8 and the 15 EMAs on the daily there. It looks like we came up, tested them, and then got rejected for some more downward action.
Right. So we've got that, rejection, but we haven't came back and reclaimed. So we're still within this candle right here.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got this candle up to 1321, and then we've got this candle down to 1263. So we're still kind of ranging within that candle. If you look at it, we've had some nice buying to kind of push this up. So we'll see if this holds as a negative candle. We still got 10 more hours, 9 more hours, and 50 minutes uh, to see what it does. But we're still kind of in the bottom of this range. And again, we've got these candles that potentially could be recovered. So if we start breaking down into this area again, this is that 1220, 1216 area, which I'm calling support, right now, kind of it flipped over, obviously, and looking at this. But if we start really getting down into this area, I would anticipate, this 1140s, 1135 is kind of the range that we're getting into. And again, you would want to see that come all the way down here, probably pop back up and see if we can flip this, what's support right now into resistance as it was back here to kind of move back down to these lows. And then we'll see if this low holds. And again, we still have this wick here. That
That's
is
like
still
eight
a
hundred
big
bucks,
area
right?
of yeah, we still have this as a very area of imbalance, big area of imbalance. So this is kind of where I'm expecting us to get to eventually. We'll just kind of have to see, and this would fall in line with some of the macro stuff that we're looking at on a traditional standpoint as well. Just looking at things like where your on balance volume is. So, we've had these highs. You can look at it. We've had kind of came up to these highs, as you can see when we get into these areas. You can expect, some downward movement. And so here we're kind of right below those levels. So we're kind of right in the middle of everything. So we're kind of we're in a precarious area, if you want to say that, to see where price direction is going to go. But ultimately, I think we're headed down in the longer term. But again, we're going to have some rallies, of course, as shorts get a little bit heavier. And so that's kind of what we've had here is we've had a rally coming out from the lows, which are in that 1268, 1270 area. So we've rallied up into this area. We've had this vector that's pretty promising around the 50, but we haven't really had a whole lot of follow through. We've had this big candle that could potentially take out some of the stops that came on board. So we've recovered this candle, and again, we've got somewhat of a volume changing candle to potentially move back up into this area here. So I do expect us kind of the psychological areas. I do expect us to get up into the psychological high. as well. Will that happen today? Oh shit! What happened to my chart?
I
Well,
don't know. It
let's
went
see.
blank.
It went blank. I didn't do
The
anything,
market
but my
crashed and went to zero.
don't have my trading reality indicator just bugged out. But so this 1329 is POC as well. So again, getting up into this area, I would anticipate that, and then kind of a probably a retrace to the downside
So what?
on.
So price wise, back up into the air. Like what are you expecting as far as price if we head to the upside?
So again, I think POC because I do think that we're still just ranging a little bit. So I mean, POC is going to be in that 1322, 1330s area. So I think, we'll probably range up into that area. It really depends. I mean, we've been flip-flopping on longs and shorts pretty quickly. So as soon as we start getting some momentum to the upside, seems like funding rate, order book, all that starts to flip, and so it's going to be really interesting. I mean, if we get past that 1322, 1325 area, your next real peak is going to be kind of in that 1401 area, which would reclaim some of this candle here as well as get back up to this peak. We still got this imbalance that's over in this area as well. The peak of this is 1419. So if we start, getting some momentum, get past that 1320s area, I would expect us to really then start getting into that 1400s area, which is, where one of these the last of these peaks kind of came into place. So this was kind of the last real data that we had, FOMC meeting, all those things. So we got CPI coming up on that. So tomorrow's really going to be the big day, as well. So moving on from there, we've got things like open interest, which is 5.7 billion. But as you can notice, we're a little bit down, but we've been kind of on an upward trend relative to OI. So we'll just have to see. These appear to be some shorts that are coming on board. If we look at funding rates, I mean, we've got a lot of negativity on the stablecoin margin side, which is expected. And then we've got, again, negative funding rates with some of the other exchanges here, Bybit.
So do you think a short squeeze is possible for tomorrow?
Yeah, I think definitely a short squeeze is possible. It just kind of depends. I mean, the volume's been really light. The volume's been really light. So, yeah, I'm expecting a short squeeze. I think we've already seen a little bit of it. I mean, we bounced from that 1280s, 1260s up to this 1300, but we haven't seen like, the violent ones that we normally have seen. You know,
Where it pumps up to 1400 real quick?
yeah, so that, that's in the mix. But again, it's we really haven't seen any volume, a lot of volume that's coming in. Here's a little chart that I've been looking at. This is on the Binance side. And again, we've got, this 1327 is POC. We've had some movement up here relative to price. We've had, in this case, as price moved up, we had OI move down, which means that those are liquidations from those longs. And we also had CVD moving up, which means that people are starting to go a little bit positive. But again, we still have that negative funding rate. Bollinger Bands are kind of at the top of the range, so possibly on maybe a move down. But these are very, can't rely on them. But this is just a parameter, and so we're looking at it right now. So we may get some volatility again. The CPI numbers coming out tomorrow, and that's going to be interesting. If we look at the traditional stock market, we are up, so which is not strange because we did have what I would consider some negative news today, even though Nasdaq's lacking. So that negative news, if we want to get to it, it's going to be the producer price index, which came at zero point 0.4. It was expected at zero point 0.2, which this is basically what wholesalers are paying for. So if wholesalers are paying more, almost double more than what was expected, then inflation's not in control. And so if inflation's not in control, we may anticipate that this number comes back higher, even though this is kind of the consumer. But what I would say for this is you've got a little bit of positive momentum, meaning up day, with negative news, which could be a setup for later on in the week. So if we do start to pump, I would anticipate fading that pump with some shorts as we kind of move into Thursday and kind of see what happens here. But this number could also surprise as well. But here's the ultimate question you have to ask is, do these numbers even matter at this point in time? We're gonna have to have, an extended period of stable reductions in inflation, just both on the producer price index as well as the CPI, the PPI, and the CPI, along with jobless claims. I mean, this is the puzzle that the Fed's trying to figure out. But when negative data, makes price pump, especially on traditional markets, that just means that they're setting up traps for later on in the week. So be careful. I anticipate that again, any pumps to the upside, I'll be fading. But just look to get into some of these levels we talked about above that 1400 area. I think I'm going for shorts at that point. So
you're long up to about 1400.
I like 1400 as a TP for the long that I'm currently in. Yes.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, let me show you guys what I got. Aha. Anyway. So here you go. This is the ETH USD on Binance, and as you can see, we are working our. We were down to about 44 long liquidations yesterday.
Man, look at all those longs that came on board,
and
though.
then they came on board, and we're kind of cycling back through this. We're working our way back up here to the 0 point, because I mean we're right now we're at negative 1.2 billion, whereas yesterday we were, yesterday we got up to like $7 billion yesterday when we were on the show yesterday, and we're sitting here at 1.2 billion right now. So it does look like they are in fact on their way back up. Again, you see a gap here, there's a little bit of gap here. So you're looking between 1296, kind of where we're at now, down to 1270 range. I think they're going to go ahead and keep bouncing around in here to really get all these orders and clusters filled in really good, because they currently have a gap. So I don't think we're going to see a heck of a whole lot different activity than we've seen in the last couple of days, probably until tomorrow, because we have these gaps here. Typically when these gaps are here, it's just ping pong, dude. Back and forth, just ranging, just setting up traps for people, dude. It's really incredible how many billions of dollars they were to take on and off the market too when they do this. It's pretty cool. So let's slide over here to Bookmap and take a look at this guy so we can see the order flow. And so as you can see right now, we're slightly weighted to the downside right now. We did have a bunch of pretty nice little short volume come in here, but it looked like they're going to kind of bounce around here. They don't want to get too many people on board at one time. But it does look like we're kind of weighted more in favor right now to the downside, even though these are still pretty close to being even. Let's slide out real quick to look at long-term liquidity, and so we got long-term liquidity down here at 1,000. That's staying. We got some stuff down here at 1,250. It's not super heavy, and we got a lot of orders right here in this area where we're at. Small amount of orders up here at 1,400. So really the big deal is the resistance area. If we can break this 1290, I would go ahead and expect lower prices down to 1270. We will go ahead and break that 1270 area, expect some lower prices down there. However, if that holds, because that's the bottom of the session volume profile, we'll go ahead and continue and then turn around and start heading back up into these low to mid 1300s. So it's kind of a matter of if we break this 1290 right now, which it's attempting to do, but we still have we're in this really heavy area, if you can see this, with just a bunch of orders. This looks to me like when this is like weekend or dead hours when there's no markets open. This is the kind of They always keep it in a tight range, and it just does this. So 1290. I think we're good down to 1270 if we break that. However, if we start heading up and we get above that, 1310, go ahead and expect some higher prices. I don't know if we're going all the way to 1400, but if B. Wellington is open to 1400, so am I. That's all I have for my side of the show today. Anything else you'd like to add, B. Wellington, before we get off?
No, I mean, we just had all those longs that came on board, and looking at high block and all those things. So, I mean, this book is flipping so quickly, it's hard to determine. It's hard to determine price direction at this point in time, but we're at the bottom of the range. I think people are shorting support, and so that spells for a short squeeze. Just how much? I'm glad you found your icon.
I did, man.
I'm glad. I just imagine how much short position comes on board. So
tripping short positions. Is that what you said?
Tripping short positions.
Well, that's all we have for today, folks. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place, and get ready for probably some pretty violent false moves. I don't know if I trust the move right out of the gate. So
crazy action.
We will talk about that on the show. But if something is, what time does that come out tomorrow? 8 o'clock.
CPI.
Or is that at 2? Or is that at 2 p.m.?
8:30.
8:30. So market open. There may be some leaks before that gets out. So there may be some movement before the shows start. So stay frosty out there, my friends. We'll see you tomorrow. Until next time. AMF.